Nikki.
And I'm Jess.
She's the traumatized.
And she's the abandoned.
And welcome to our podcast, where we talk about true crime, spooky things, and everything in between.
And today, we're going to be talking about some myths, legends, and mythical creatures. And Nikki has no idea what we're doing, and I'm so excited.
No idea. I haven't done a single thing.
That's not true. You've done a lot of things, but I was hit with inspiration, and as I started to create my research, I realized it's a lot. So I was like, yo, Nikki, can I take the torch this week?
I was like, yup, no complaints here.
No research, let's go. So yeah, I'm really excited, and I'm not going to tell you until you gotta wait like a couple more minutes. Sorry.
A couple more minutes? Oh no.
No,
Whatever will I do?
All right, how was your week? How was the doctor's appointment? Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, doctor's appointment I had to drive to Louisville in like spotting rain. And then once I got into the building and went to check in, the lady's like, yeah, our computers went down. And then she's like, oh, there's a message that said they went down nationwide. I was like, oh, great. But she was really nice. We were having a conversation. She's like, I should have stayed home today. I was like,
same.
Me too.
Yep. Same.
But yeah, it was just an ultrasound of my neck to check out my thyroid. Is apparently inflamed. Like, I was expecting to have to wait like days, but they called that afternoon.
Nice.
The same day. So I just start medication whenever that comes in. And yeah, so, and I got to get Dunkin' on the way home. It was literally from the VA clinic, turn left, and it was right before the exit that I needed to get on the highway again. So I was like, absolutely, husband, do you want coffee? Because I'm getting some.
Like, you were telling me how much of a nightmare it was, and I was like, ma'am, you deserve coffee. It's like, you got up so early this morning and you waited, and then you drove through rain, and then you had to wait again. I'm like, coffee. You deserve a treat yourself.
And then last night was crazy. We had a humongous thunderstorm coming through. I think I was woken up like every 2 hours from hail hitting the windows. So like, I'm surprised my windows didn't shatter. That's how loud it was.
That's crazy. It's March, or it's not even March yet. That's crazy. Thunderstorms are hitting.
Well, we're in smack dab tornado alley. So
I mean, yeah, but in March?
Do you not remember 2 years ago when we were in the apartments that Christmas Day or Christmas Eve?
Oh,
that gigantic, it was a 5. I think it was a level 5 tornado. It was supposed to hit directly at us, but it dissipated right before.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was headed right for our apartments, direct hit, and it just thankfully I think we were playing video games.
You're like, if my power goes out, I'm like, what?
If a tornado hits us, if I just disappear, tornado hits us.
We're going out fun. Yeah. So basically, you're trading thunderstorms for snowstorms when you move.
Yeah.
So
how was your week? Yeah,
my week was good. I had my brothers over, and we had like a sibling sleepover on Saturday, which is the first time we must have had sleepovers at my mom's house when we were all like talking to her, like when my brother was still living there, maybe. But it was the first time like the three of us had just been like by ourselves. Like, it was really fun. Drinks were had. Monopoly was won. I won Monopoly. It only took 2 hours this time. It's really good. We laughed until we cried, and then like literally woke up the next morning. My lungs were hurting because I was laughing so hard. So good times were had. All right, are you ready for fun fact of the day?
Fun fact of the day.
Fun fact of the day. Did you know that giraffes are 30 times more likely to get hit by lightning than people?
Because they're as tall as a tree.
So now there are only 5 well-documented fatal lightning strikes on giraffes between 1996 and 2010. But due to the population of the species only being 140,000, it makes for about a 0.003 lightning deaths per 1,000 giraffes, which is 30 times the equivalent of the fatality for humans. So yeah, giraffes are 30 more times likely to get hit by lightning people.
Poor giraffe.
They're so tall. They're so tall. They got the long necks. What's crazy to me, side note, is how giraffes are a real thing, but unicorns aren't.
Make it make sense. Make it make sense.
Or even rhinos. Rhinos have horns. How come you can mix a hippopotamus and slap a horn on it, but you can't take a horse and slap a horn on it?
Maybe they did. Maybe there
they did.
was. Maybe it's like mermaids. They just go extinct. Well, I think mermaids probably still exist because, you know, the ocean is vast and large, and
there's a lot of shit in it we don't know about. A lot of shit. Speaking of unicorns, myths, legends, and mythical creatures. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
What are we talking about today?
So, as most of you have known if you've listened to our podcast or picked up on it, Nikki and I have been playing a game a lot recently where you go and investigate and figure out like what ghosts are haunting you in like a house or an area called Phasmophobia. We've been having so much fun, getting super scared, but I thought it'd be really interesting to go into the different types of ghosts that inspired that game. So we are going to break down the different types of ghosts you find in that game and go into where they came from. Like the history of like, why is a banshee a banshee? Why is a revenant a revenant? Like what type of ghost and where their background is. So I'm excited.
Very, very interesting.
Maybe this will make us better at the game. Okay. Anyway.
All of them? You did all of them or just some of them?
Did almost all of them. I left out the mimic because and then I had to combine a couple. We'll go through it though.
Okay.
Because some of them are like the same thing. So first, we're gonna start off with the banshee. So the spirit comes from Ireland.
Okay.
It is known as a fairy or a spirit whose eerie scream is believed to be a warning of imminent death.
Oh, Lord.
So in modern media, she's given a more villainous role and active malice than she does in the old folklore. For example, she is often seen as an evil fairy or demon rather than a simple harbinger of death. So the original like story of a banshee is she's just like warning that somebody's gonna die, whereas like nowadays it's more like she's the bringer of death and her scream warns you.
It's the banshee screaming in my background.
Should we leave it in for eerie effect? The banshee was immortal and a ghost able to become both invisible and intangible at will, usually active during the hours of the night. She attached herself to a single clan and would follow them wherever they went. If a member of the clan was near death or about to befall some misfortune, she would wail, and the sound of her wailing was feared, but most stories vary on whether she truly caused the misfortunes herself or wailed as a sign of mourning for the inevitable.
Interesting.
Legends say that if seen, the banshee will vanish into a cloud of mist. The name banshee comes from an old Irish phrase. Okay, guys, disclaimer. I do not speak any of these languages. I am going to be mispronouncing a lot. I tried my very best to learn these, but I'm going to mess up. So we're going to start here. It's going to get worse. We get into some Japanese stuff. Okay. So the old Irish phrase, being seedy, meaning fairy woman. Banshees are an omen and a warning of death, but again, do not actually cause death in this lore. Traditionally, a banshee is depicted as a floating female spirit with long flowing hair who screams throughout the night. She can appear as a beautiful, pale, enchanting woman with long red or silver hair wearing a white or silver dress. Sometimes she can be seen grooming her hair with a silver comb. She can also take the form of an old witch dressed in black with long gray hair and a veil over her face. Always with the long hair though. That's something that's very common. She could have frightening blood red eyes or can even appear as a headless woman carrying a bowl of blood.
Ew. Okay.
She can take the form of a washerwoman washing the blood-stained clothes of those who are dying. Those are just some depictions that I found online. The Irish banshee is known locally by many names: Hag of the Mist, Hag of the Black Head, and the Washerwoman. Whatever her form, the mystical banshee is known for her terrifying screams. Again, many believe the tale of the banshee evolved from the Irish custom of the lament in the 8th century. Women would sing a sorrowful song at funerals to grieve the dead. This mournful lament would be heard across the village, indicating somebody had passed. These funeral singers were called keeners, and the banshee myth emerged from here. According to an Irish folklore, the banshee is usually found near grave sites, fairy rings, or Irish ruins. Don't know what a fairy ring is? You should watch Brave. A great movie. And that's how I learned about them.
It's a great movie.
Not all banshees are to be feared. Many believed that every Irish family has its own banshee, and these spirits watch over the families in life and death.
Also guardian angels.
Yeah, so just like a guardian angel. Ancient Irish folklore claimed the banshees could only wail for 5 prominent Irish family names: the O'Neills, O'Connors, O'Briens, Kavanaghs, and O'Grady's. Now, The more fearful banshees appear as frightening old witches who emit howls that shatter glass and torment the living. Some say that these creatures are so filled with hatred that to look at them directly will cause instant death.
Oh, wow.
Their haunting wails are a forewarning that death is looming, so no wonder it is the banshee that instills fear in everyone. Of the many traditions and superstitions associated with Emerald Isle, the legend of the banshee is the far most haunting. Tales of the banshee have been passed down through generations of Irish families for centuries, and there are hundreds of reportings of the sighting of the spooky spirit. With every story, the legend of the banshee has grown stronger and more elaborate.
Dun, dun, dun.
So that's the banshee, which Phasmophobia, you could literally, one of her like rare events is you could hear her screeching. So I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
All right. Next, the jinn. So the genie or the jinn, and genie is spelled Ginni.
Okay.
In Arabic mythology, I'm going to mispronounce a lot in here too. Is a spirit inhabiting the earth but unseen by humans, capable of assuming various forms and exercising extraordinary powers. Belief in the jinn was common in the pre-Islamic Arabia, where they were thought to inspire poets and soothsayers. Their existence was affirmed in the Quran, and they are conceptualized in Islam as creatures parallel to human beings who are capable of choosing between good and evil, and must thus face eventual salvation or damnation. They are beings of smokeless flame by nature, in the same manner in which humans are said to have been made of earth, and they cannot be seen by human beings in their natural form.
Okay.
Jinn, especially through their association with things unseen, have always been favorite figures in North African, Egyptian, Syrian, Persian, and Turkish folklore, and are at the center of an immense popular literature, appearing notably in the 1001 Nights. So in common folklore, jinn are capable of assuming human or animal form and are said to dwell in conceivable inanimate objects like stones, trees, ruins, and underneath the earth, in the air, and in fire. They possess the bodily need of human beings and can even be killed, but they are all free from physical restraints. So in some of the ancient cultures, jinns are actually evil spirits capable of demonic possession. In others, they are blamed for mischief, health problems, and bad luck. So jinn delight in punishing humans for any harm done to them, intentionally or unintentionally, and are said to be responsible for many diseases and all kinds of accidents. So they're little tricksters.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that is a jinn. All right, and then we are going to go to a mare.
Mare.
So the mare does not refer to a female horse, but actually it's called a Mara demon, who is known to sit on a person's chest and terrorize them as they sleep.
Oh, interesting. You haven't watched Dead Files, have you? In some of the episodes, well, in like all the episodes, Amy usually picks out one or two scenes that she's seen to have drawn for the people. And that is like one that comes up kind of often, where like the person is asleep in bed and something is like hovering above it.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Ooh. So Mara, or mares, according to the Old Norse folklore, Amara was an evil nocturnal demon of terror. The Old Norse legend goes that Amara would slither into a bedroom at night, hover on the top of a sleeping person, and inflict nightmares on them. Usually, the victim would become paralyzed when the mare visited and felt a heavy weight staring at the foot, but ending on the chest.
So I wonder if that's like isn't that
a
called
demon,
something?
a sleep demon, or a demon paralysis,
Sleep
sleep
paralysis.
paralysis. That one, yeah.
Crazy.
So it would leave the victim feeling suffocated, panicked, and breathless because they would literally be laying on their chests. The night hag or riding witch are other names for the mare. The Mara or mare. And again, Mara is Old in High German or Old Norse, while mare is Old Dutch. So that's the difference. So Mara is High German or Old Norse, and mare is Old Dutch. So that's the two different names for it. Is a creature featured in Scandinavian folklore and Nordic legends associated with sleep and nightmares.
Interesting.
Now, the Mara legend has also been observed in several places outside of Scandinavia. In Germany, there are records of charms and prayers to ward off the Mara, such as this fun little diddly here. Here I am laying down to sleep. No nightmare shall plague me until they have swum all through the waters that flow upon the earth and counted all the stars that appear in the skies. Thus help me God, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Amen.
Huh. Have you ever? What's the other nighttime?
Now lay me down
lay
to
me down to sleep.
I pray the Lord my soul to
My
keep.
soul to keep. I wonder if that like transformed from that.
I wonder, because it kind of flows like it too.
Yeah.
So in Polish folklore, the Mara is described as a soul of a living person who leaves the body at night and is seen by others in the guise of wisps of hair or moth.
Ooh.
In Czech lore, there are mentions of a night butterfly, also thought to be linked to the Mara legend. Russian legends paint the Mara as invisible, but with the ability to also take the form of a woman with long hair. Flashback to Banshee. Other mentions of Mara in Slavic folklore include descriptions of the Mara as a succubus-like creature who invades men's dreams and lead them to their doom, which is popular in Croatia, and as a spirit who enters through the keyhole and strangles you while you sleep, and that is popular in Serbia. So the folklore of the old hag has been seen all over the world, obviously. We're just going to go over a couple different ones here, and this is where it gets really hard to pronounce some stuff. Okay, so folk believe in Newfoundland and parts of southern United States where the hag leaves her body and sits on the chest of the victim. The legend of the Kana Tavaro in Fiji, where it is seen as a recently deceased family member with unfinished business. So the Thai belief describes sleep paralysis as being caused by a ghost called the Fiam. So sleep paralysis, very similar. In Japan, it's referred to as a Kanashabiara, which translates to bind or to tie. In Mongolia, sleep paralysis is called kar darak, which translates to being pressed by the black.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. In Arab cultures, it's referred to as jathum, which means what sits heavily on something. It's believed that sleep paralysis can be prevented by reading the throne verse of the Quran, and then in several African cultures, including Nigeria, Egypt, and Ethiopia, sleep paralysis is believed to be caused by a demon who possessed the body while dreaming. So all are related to the mare or the Mara.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Now, the Oni comes from Japan. So in Japan, there are many tales of the Oni, demons with sharp teeth and horns who terrorize their victims. In Shinto mythology, Oni is an ancestral demon. In folklore, Oni's skin color ranges from blue to the more common red. However, it can be white or even mix of colors. Depictions of Oni vary widely, but usually portray them as hideous, gigantic, ogre-like creatures with a single horn or multiple horns emerging from their head, with sharp claws, wild hair, and fang-like tusks.
A single horn? What would that look like?
Like a rhino.
Like a rhino?
Yeah. This may have been inspired by the Japanese dragons, which are said to have many colors. Now, the blue Oni may be inspired by the Chinese mythological creature, the Zi, who is considered a protector of justice in some provinces. The Oni was synchronized with Hindu Buddhist creatures such as the man-devouring Yaksha and the Rakshasa, and became the Ani who tormented sinners as wardens of hell, administering sentences passed down by hell's magistrate, King Yama. The hungry ghosts, called Gaki, have also been considered some type of Ani. Accordingly, a wicked soul beyond rehabilitation transforms into an Ani after death. Only the very worst person would turn into an Ani while alive, and these are the Ani causing troubles among humans as presented in folktales.
Yikes.
So some scholars even argued that the Ani was entirely a concept of Buddhist mythology. It is believed that the Ani could transform themselves into familiar animals and or disguise themselves as people. However, in modern times, they are portrayed as they originally were. The Ani is depicted as a humanoid with horns and sharp teeth. Now, Ani is a broad category of yokai that embodies evil and greedy nature. So there are so many different shapes and sizes, that with some Ani being stories like tall stories while others taking human form. So I'm going to go over some different descriptions and different types of Ani. So like I mentioned before, a Gaki is a voracious ghost or a demon of gluttony. And this is where I'm going to be pronouncing stuff. Sorry. The Kiho is a hideous Ani with long teeth, fingers used to murder humans. These are typically Ani females who murder humans often for pleasure. However, they don't always kill their victims. Sometimes they take human form to seduce young men in order to get them pregnant so they can give birth to an Ani child. They can also kidnap small children and hide them in the mountains where they raise them as future servants of evil.
Don't like that.
Often, Kiho seem gentle at first glance, especially when compared to the male Ani, but once you unknowingly make yourself their enemy, there is no escape. The the Onmaraki is a Japanese demon who hides in the darkness of caves and basements, preying on those who enter. They are said to be related to the Tenju. The Atarashi is a hairy ape-like Ani with enlarged brow ridge and long fangs. It is said to whistle as it approaches you, which could be mistaken for wind chimes if you're not careful. So every time you hear a wind chime in Japan, like, be careful. The Zenko is a powerful type of Ani who is said to guard graveyards, temples, or mountains during the hours of 5 a.m. to 7 a.m.
Just those 2 hours. They're like, hey, do you want to haunt this place? You're like, yeah, but only for like 2 hours. I got other things to do.
I got other places to go. Like, I'm on guard duty for 2 hours. I don't know about you. Its name means evil field demon, and its face is usually painted with black eyebrows.
Yikes.
It has the shaggy eyebrows that converge above its nose, so it looks like horns, which make him particularly menacing when he glares at you from between them.
Ooh.
The Gozu is a pair of demon cows that travel together.
Love that.
They are said to enjoy loud noises and shouting, similar to Baku. While Gozu refers to two of them collectively, individually, they are instead called the Ushiani. The most famous tale about them is about how one day some priests were meditating in the forest when suddenly the ground underneath them began to rumble. Without warning, two gigantic cows burst through the grounds with horns several feet long.
Okay, first of all, why are we in the forest meditating? Why?
They were priests. Maybe it was like Game of Thrones with like what were the places they went to like pray? The red, you know what I'm talking about? With the face, there was a face in a tree.
It was a big tree or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it was called though. Yeah,
I think it was just like a sacred area, but the gigantic cow heads burst through the ground with horns with several feet long, horned things. The frightened monks all ran away screaming except for one who was so shocked he couldn't move. That's it. So the Tiria Ani is a particularly rare type of Ani that takes form of both genders. They typically inhabit wooded areas, and then they could change gender at will. Because they're so varied, there is no one cursed item to ward against them, nor any sure way to recognize if one's encountered them. These are all different types of Anis, by the way. The Shura is a demonic being that lived among us on Earth because of a curse that keeps them from entering hell or the underworld. Ugh. The Rokurokubi. Sorry. These are basically humans that have had their heads stretched from their bodies at night. So, like, the one picture I did find, it has, like, just imagine this long, like, waving neck with a head attached to it. It's terrifying.
Ew.
The Shinigama are spirits in Japanese folklore who are responsible for guiding souls to the afterlife. So, not all bad.
Okay.
But most bad. All right, next one of my least favorites in Phasmophobia, the Revenant. I feel like I always die when it's a Revenant. So a Revenant is a corporeal ghost or zombie-like creatures from folklore that was said to return from the grave to exact revenge upon the living or simply just terrorize people. In the original medieval tales, Revenants often return from the grave simply to cause trouble for the living and could spread disease and misery, much like early versions of vampires.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what?
Mm-hmm. Because vampires come back from the dead.
But what virus are they spreading? Vampirism?
We'll get into it.
Okay.
However, in later adaptations of the legends, revenants would develop more of a purpose and often return from the grave in order to avenge themselves or others, either as angry spirits or a literal walking corpse, aka a zombie. Revenants have become a popular part of culture since their creation, and some notable examples of revenants in fiction would be the Crow and Spawn. They differ from zombies by the fact they tend to retain a human level of intelligence and often return to their slumber after exacting revenge. However, some may be stuck in an eternal limbo. So the word revenant derives from the French revenir, which is to return.
Okay.
Did I say that right?
I don't know.
Okay. Did you take French?
No, I took Spanish.
Oh, we need a person who took French. Did I say that right, guys? Revenir? I don't know. Anyway, so revenant means one who has returned from the dead.
Okay.
They are considered the origins of pop culture icons such as vampires or even the Frankenstein's monster, who then was an inspiration for zombies. So revenants are like the OG. They could take on both spiritual and physical forms. In the material form, they could be anywhere from a freshly killed corpse to a pile of bones that, oddly enough, would still bleed when cut.
Bones bleed?
Mm-hmm.
Yikes. Okay.
Some would attack men and then drink their blood, while others would eat anything but the blood.
Okay.
The corpse of one revenant is reported to have been found in the grave, swollen and suffused with blood. When it was pierced, a stream of blood would flow through the wound. So, like this one instance, they buried a bunch of people who died from like the plague. This is why they started burning them, according to folklore. Why they started burning the bodies is because the vampires or revenants would actually like come alive in the pile of corpses and just start eating them.
Ew, that's so gross.
And then would like overindulge themselves and like end up dying because of the gluttony. It's crazy.
Okay.
On top of that, the bodies of these beasts would not burn unless the heart was removed. This is another quote. With repeated blows of blunted spade and thrusting in his hand, dragged out the accursed heart, this being torn piecemeal, and the body now consumed in the flames. So that was like from like a book where they're like describing how to kill it. They were often pointed as the cause of spreading disease to the living. So it was only after the bodies of the revenants were exhumed that the heads were cut off, their hearts removed, which put an end to the spreading of the sickness. So if there was like a sickness going around and a lot of people died, they would literally like cut off their heads and take out their hearts and then burn them just so they didn't come back.
That's a lot of work.
Later, with the introduction of Christianity, they would also sprinkle the corpse with holy water just for good measure. Taking out the heart and cutting off the head was not good enough. Let's just throw some fucking water on it. Sorry. Holy water.
Holy water.
Usually they were said to rise from the dead and enact revenge on someone, but there were occasions where they would just wake up and terrorize the townspeople. So yeah, didn't know that. Didn't know revenants were a backstory for literally vampires, zombies, all that good stuff.
Yeah, that's crazy. Cool.
They fucked up people. Okay, so this is one of the ones I kind of had to combine. A shade and a wraith.
Okay.
Because they're the same fucking thing.
Oh.
I literally spent like 10 minutes on Google trying to like, they're the same thing.
Trying to find a difference.
Yeah, because shade, oh my God, it was so funny. Shade was like, it's when light doesn't hit a certain area, so the shade is, and I'm like, you fucking, oh, I said shade ghosts. And they're like, well, wraiths are, no, what is a shade? The only thing I got on it is the only thing. A shade or a wraith is a subset of spirits, and one more often held to a darker purpose. The two are used interchangeably. That is literally the only thing I got on shades.
Wow.
Only thing I could find. So I was like, you know what? If they're used interchangeably, I'm just going to mush them together. Okay.
Yeah.
So a wraith is an undead creature whose name originated in Scottish folklore. It is a type of ghost or spirit, which are traditionally said to be the embodiment of souls who are either on the verge of death or have recently passed.
Okay.
In modern times, the concept of a wraith is more likely to refer to an evil spirit, particularly one of which who has unfinished business in the mortal realm. They are typically depicted as skeletal figures draped in tattered rags and are more commonly associated with graveyards or other haunted locales. And then the modern perception of a wraith is that it's an entity which actively seeks to harm those who it is encountered, no matter their motivation. So they're just pissed off and they're dead.
Okay.
Like it's an atypical ghost.
That's great.
Yeah. Like, yeah. So that's it. I was like, what the fuck is a shade? I was getting very angry and I was like, you know what? This is supposed to be fun. Now, Yuri, on the other hand, I found a lot about. So Yuri, the appearance of Yuri is somewhat uniform, instantly signaling the ghost nature of the figure and assuring that it is culturally authentic. Like I said, a lot is known about this. Yuris are usually dressed in white, signifying the white burial kimono used in the Edo funeral rituals. In Shinto, white is the color of ritual purity, traditionally reserved for priests and the dead. Fun fact.
Interesting.
The hair of the Yuri is often long and black and disheveled, which some believe to be a trademark carried over from the kabuki theater, where wigs are used for all actors. This is a misconception. So Japanese women traditionally grew their hair long and wore it pinned up, but it was let down for funerals and burials. So that's why their hair is long and flowy. They typically lack legs and feet. They just float in the air.
They just float in the air.
Haunting people, yeah, they don't have legs or feet. Which I'm interested, like how accurate Phasmophobia is, because you can see ghosts sometimes. Like I wonder if you could no, not accurate at all. Okay,
I don't think so, because
it'd be interesting if it was though.
There's like the Hook dude, the crawling bitch, the crying bitch, and
like the crying bitch isn't always a banshee either.
Like, cause the one where I died,
there's a singing bitch.
I kept telling you that
she was throwing stuff everywhere.
That was the crying one. I don't remember what it ended up being.
Yeah, neither.
But like, she would literally walk by the prison tables and just like throw books left and right.
I was watching her and I was like, "This is crazy."
Yeah.
Played last night, guys, and she died a lot. Actually, she died every single time. Every single time. Okay.
Even with the last time that I died, the fast ghost or whatever, like I literally ran past Rich. I was like, "Rich, run!" And I ran past it. Was like, he's gonna get Rich, and it killed me instead.
It just wanted the booty. That's all.
So rude.
So rude. So, Yuri are frequently depicted as being accompanied by a pair of floating flames or will-o-wisps in the eerie colors such as blue, green, or purple.
You said they're centered in Asia or something?
No, this is...
They're everywhere?
Oh, Japanese. Japanese, yeah.
They're Japanese. Okay, interesting.
These ghostly flames are separate parts of the ghost rather than independent spirits. While all Japanese ghosts are called Yuri... Within that category, there are several specific types of phantoms classified mainly by the manner they died or their reason for returning to Earth. So we're going to break down some of these again. And what's interesting is some of these are actually the ghosts in the game. So Onryo, I think this is Onryo. That's one of them, right? Onryo?
Something like that.
Well, it's a vengeful ghost who come back from purgatory for a wrong done during their lifetime. So they're pissed.
They're out for revenge.
For sure. Ubumi is a mother ghost who died in childbirth or died leaving young children behind. So this Yuri returns to care for her children or often bring them sweets. So actually that's
kind of cute.
Goryo, which is definitely one. Vengeful ghost of the aristocratic class, especially those who are martyred. That's a fancy ghost. Funa Yuri are ghosts who have died at sea. Ghosts are sometimes depicted as scaly fish-like humanoids, and some may even have a form similar to a mermaid or a merman.
Interesting.
Or the Zashiki Warashi. These are ghosts of children, often mischievous rather than dangerous.
Okay.
Now there's floating spirits. So these spirits do not seek to fulfill an exact purpose. They just wander aimlessly. In ancient time, the disease of the emperor of Japan was thought to arise as a result of these spirits floating in the air. So the spirits were spreading the sickness, which is just how some diseases are spread, just by air. But, ancient times, they didn't notice.
Right.
And then earthbound spirits are similar to the Fury. They're rare. These spirits do not seek to fulfill an exact purpose, but are instead bound to a specific place or situation. Examples of this include a famous story of the Okiku, the well of the Himeji Castle, and the hauntings in the film of the Juon or The Grudge. All right, Hantu. Hantu is the Malay, Indonesian, and sometimes the Tagalog term for spirit. So it's just Hantu is spirit in those cultures. In the modern usage, it generally means spirit of the dead, but has also come to refer to any mythological invisible beings such as demons. Aside from the generic usage, there exist forms of the Hantu, including both the benign and the malevolent. Hantus are known as ghosts that play with people's minds through speech. I wonder if Hantu is... If you somehow manage to talk to one, it'll play with your sanity and making you more vulnerable.
Very interesting.
Right. There's the Hantu air spirit inhabiting the water. Air is not air. Like it is a different language. Because there's a Hantu Baruch, which is the ape demon. Hantu Belian is a tiger spirit. Hantu Musag is a civet cat spirit that is invoked in the game of possession.
Oh.
Hantu Pusaka is a grave demon. Hantu Raya is a great demon. Now, this Hantu is considered the strongest amongst evil spirits and the jungles of Malaysia and takes the appearance of its owner, which I find funny because Raya is a really good movie too. Hantu Rimba is a deep forest demon, and a Hantu Tingji is a tall Hantu that is associated with trees. I vision an Int from Lord of the Rings. So those are all the different types of Hantu.
What was the thing that we
Fuck
did?
you, a siren head. It is so tall. It is tall. The one I was trying to scare you just laughed all the way through. That one? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks for that.
60 feet tall.
65. Like, how tall is that? All right, so Myling was also one that I got a lot on.
Okay.
Which I thought was interesting. So Myling is also known as Utbird or Murding, and is a tragic spirit of... Okay, I forgot about this. Trigger warning.
Oh, no. Okay.
We're going to talk about infanticide. So, infanticide? Infants becoming unalived.
Okay.
So, just if you skip Mylings, because that's all they are. So, they are a tragic spirit of a victim of infanticide. Infanticide.
So somebody killed a baby, and that baby becomes a Myling.
Yes. So the legends about Mylinger originates in Scandinavian folklore. They portrayed as ghastly spirits who haunt the area where their mother has hidden their bodies.
Ooh.
So some tales tell of Mylinger wanting revenge on their mothers or killing them. Mylinger are paranormal souls of unbaptized children. They're victims of infanticide that are forced to roam the earth until someone can bury them properly or give them a name. Fun fact, if anybody played Witcher 3, they're called botchlings in Witcher 3. Because there's this whole thing where the baby was just discarded and wasn't given a proper funeral and it came back to haunt them.
Oh, poor thing. So
the Myling is created when the child is unwanted and gets killed or abandoned by their mother. I wish these were a thing for all those women who just leave their babies in trash cans. Like, you deserve to be haunted. I'm just gonna go out there and say it. Said that the women who killed their children would often bury them under the floor of the house or under stone heaps in the woods.
That's crazy. No, you're asking to be haunted.
And that's why when people would pass those places, they can often hear children's screams or cries. Mylings can be heard singing in the dark during nighttime, revealing their mother's crimes. Many tales tell of Mylings wanting revenge or trying to kill their mother by sucking the milk from their mother's breast and do not stop until it's all sucked out all the blood as well.
What? No, stop.
So Mylings are mischievous children spirits that also like to play pranks on other people. They could transform into animals that humans capture, but then transform back into a child and run away laughing.
Okay, I don't like these ones.
No, these are really creepy. So Mylings, though tragic, are still menacing and cruel spirits that kill many people. They are said to stalk lonely wanderers who pass by their graves. And that was in air quotes.
Because their graves could be under the floorboards.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yikes.
Eventually, the Myling will jump on a traveler's back, ask to be carried to a graveyard or cemetery to be buried so they can rest and finally get their peace. If you refuse the Myling, they will force it upon you and will not hop off you until you fulfill their wish.
You know what that reminds me of? The Dead by Daylight killer, like the twins.
The babies, yeah.
The baby like jumps off
so
the sister and like
yes.
he jumps on the players.
Oh my god, that's so true. Well, and this, yeah. So as you get closer to the graveyard, the Myling grows heavier and heavier. They will grow so heavy that the person carrying it can sink into the soil.
That's crazy.
If you don't get to the graveyard and bury the Myling in the blessed soil, you failed, and the Myling will brutally kill you in the state of rage.
Yikes. No, thank you.
Now, Myling can also, instead of hopping on people, just ask them to give a name. And I'm like, fucking name it. I wouldn't name it.
Oh, give the Myling a name?
Yeah, just like
I thought
name
they
the
meant
baby.
give him your name.
No.
I'm like, how you him? No.
No. Yeah, so according to legends, there's just two ways to help a Myling rest in peace. The first and most simple is to give the Myling a name if it asks you to do so. The other, much harder, is to find the Myling's corpse, go to a cemetery, and bury it in the soil. But if you fail with that, the Myling will brutally murder you. So if a Myling gets a name or buried in the hollow soil, it's saved. It won't haunt the earth any longer.
What if it doesn't like the name you give?
I wonder if at that point it's just happy to get a name. I don't know. There's no stories about that. Maybe they don't survive. Okay.
Yikes.
I actually have two small tales of Mylings.
Okay.
There's a famous tale. Here we go.
I said here we go.
Buckle up. There's a famous tale about a Myling in Bergslagen in Sweden. The tale tells of an old crofter that on his way home from the tavern hears a little boy asking him, Grandpa, can I breastfeed?
No! What? Oh, God. No. The
crofter initially refuses to allow it, but the boy continues to ask, so eventually he gives in and says, if you have someone to breastfeed you, then do so, but you mustn't breastfeed me. The boy then runs away, but when the crofter comes home, he finds his daughter lying dead in bed with blood flowing from her breasts.
Stop. That's not true.
It's a tale. I don't know if it's true or not. Can confirm or deny. And then the dancing Myling. So Myling, according to myths, could show up at their mother's wedding just to torment and kill the mother. One telltale goes like this. When the party was most cheerful and the dance was on, the voice was heard under the floor. Tub is long and the legs are long. I want to dance one more time. A tall, skinny boy rose up from the ground, grabbing hold of the bride and danced her to her death. Then he disappeared. Earlier, the woman had born a child in secret and buried it in a box under the dance floor.
What the heck, bro? Yikes.
Yeah, so Mylings are creepy fuckers. Also, I feel bad for them.
Thank you.
But
yeah.
So, another really hard one to find was Raiju.
Okay.
Because the Raiju is supposed to be like the pet of Thor. So, in the Japanese mythos, the Raiju, whose name means thunder beast, is an elemental demon. His true form is that of thunder and lightning. So, in mortal form, Raiju assumes the image of a large wolf. It can also become a monkey or a cat. It is said that a Raiju likes to sleep on the stomach of humans. That is why many Japanese sleep on their stomachs to sleep, like so they can't. It's because the Raiju, imagine like a big ass laying on your chest, so they'll sleep on their stomach, so it won't. But that's really all I could find about Raijus. That was interesting.
Okay.
So the Diogen, also really interesting.
Okay.
So the Diogen, also known as the Diogen, like DE space OGEN, or the eyes in Dutch. So Diogen is literally definition of the eyes. Is an evil spirit to haunt the Sonian forest in Belgium, often seen in fog form and followed by smaller shadow figures. The story, which is based on a series of true events, has become more of a campfire tale or urban legend with virtually no sightings in recent years. But some manifestations of it. Green fog. Sometimes orange, gray, or white in color. Always followed by small shadow figures.
I hate that.
Oh, wait. And also laughing children.
No, not the children.
And with bloody palm prints on car windows. So if you see a bloody palm print near that area.
Gross.
According to the book, Kinderen von Het Boss, which was written in 1937, the legend of the Diogen is said to have begun when a local nun finding the burned bodies of young children in the Sonian forest in Belgium near Brussels. That is a true story. It is said in the book that 80 children were murdered and the bodies dumped throughout the forest and set ablaze. Now,
by the same person or like?
Yup. Very little is known of the case, except that which is found in the book, which is believed by many to have been a work of fiction or exaggeration, but others believe it is true. A greenish ghost-like fog is seen often, and small black solid figures are said to dart across the road, causing cars to go off the road. Laughing children is often heard as the mist evaporates.
And now you're stuck in a ditch with creepy laughter around you. Hate that.
Other occasions said that bloody palm prints are seen on car windows only to soon disappear as the mystery appears.
Ugh.
So earlier descriptions of the fog would have it be gray, orange, or white in color, followed by the childish laughter. And then the term, the Diogen, Dutch again for the eyes, originated from the reports that something large was said to be seen staring at the witnesses from within the fog. They would only see the eyes.
No, that's so weird.
And finally, we're going to end with Thay.
Okay. I don't know if you're gonna end on a good note or a worse note. I'm just like,
I mean, it's not a great
bracing
no.
myself.
It's not a great no. It's a mediocre no. It's not like
Okay.
It's not like unalived
Children.
infants. But it's not great. So in Burmese mythology, the Thay are deceased evil people condemned to be disembodied spirits. They often appear as tall, dark people with huge ears, long tongues, and tusk-like teeth.
What? Long ears?
No, huge ears. Long tongues.
Ears, long tongues.
And tusk-like teeth.
Like a saber tooth, tiger teeth, like or a walrus. Like,
yeah. They're not good looking.
No, they don't sound like it.
Thays enter towns at noon or at night. Why it has to be at noon? And usually cause minor illnesses. The Thay are said to have many faces or bodies. For example, one might be a pregnant ghost with a fat white body and big ears when it possesses people. Others may be tall and slim, male with other varying characteristics. So you basically can't tell who they are, where they came from.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. Love that for them.
Yeah. But I mean, they only cause minor illnesses.
Just minor. Just,
scare the shit out of somebody, give them a heart attack. That's what I'm thinking. So that's really it for the Thay. I mean, they're just creepy motherfuckers. But I really thought it was interesting as I was doing all this research. I just love how they come from literally globally. We had Japanese, Burmese, Dutch,
Scotland, Ireland,
Scottish, Sweden, and like it's so cool. So I was just doing this. I was like, oh, literally, like these are ghosts and like
they're kind of
urban
all different too.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
yeah.
I figured like when you said you had to combine them, I thought, oh, okay, so like these ghosts are like the same thing in different places, but no, they were like all different pretty much.
The spirit and the shade were the same. And then I thought it was interesting the Yuri, so the Onryo and the Goryo are types of
shade
of Yuri.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're actually types, so they're like subcategories of them. So I thought that was really interesting. So like obviously I didn't go into the individualized of those.
What I found most fascinating about all this is like the sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
Didn't think it was from like an actual demon or ghost type thingy.
The mare.
Don't know why. That's crazy to me.
And it's not even like one like folklore of sleep paralysis. There were like 10.
Like all of them, yeah.
Literally Newfoundland, Fiji, Thai, Japan, Mongolia, Arab, African, literally all over.
All types of different cultures have this
sleep
one
paralysis.
Specific person, ghost, that does sleep paralysis. That's interesting.
And jinns being like genies. Yeah, it was just really interesting. I was going into it. I was like, at first I was like, let me just pick a couple. And then I was like, wait, I can do all of these. These are really interesting. I hope y'all liked it. I tell you what, I counted 18 different sources. Like, I hope y'all enjoyed it. It was fun. If you ever find yourself playing Phasmophobia, now you'll know.
Crazy.
But yeah. Absolutely. I hope you guys enjoyed it. So that's it for this episode. If you do enjoy the podcast, don't forget to follow us. Leave a comment if you're watching on YouTube. Hi. Make sure you like and subscribe. Do it.
You can also find us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok with our username at TTATA Podcast. In the bio of all of our social media is our link tree, which has our email. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, topic ideas, hit us up. Let us know.
Absolutely. Again, thanks for listening, guys. Next week, we're going to be doing Unsolved Mysteries.
Da, da, da. I don't know what the theme song is for Unsolved Mysteries.
I mean, I feel like that should be it. 100%.
That should be it.
Yeah, that's it right there. Just clip it. We'll play it back next week.
No.
And with that, we're going to leave you with this inspirational quote.
Believe you can, and you're halfway there, by Theodore Roosevelt. A short and sweet one today.
Yeah, but it hits. Like, that is so true. I feel like if you believe you could do something, you're definitely like, oh, you just got to do it. But sometimes the hardest part is knowing you can. Thanks for listening again, guys.
Until next time.
Bye.